What's up, riders? This is Kevin Wilson, the BMX Hunter, and we got a special treat today. As some of you may already realize, I'm talking to Hall of Fame, right? Hall of Fame?
I hope so. I snuck in the back door.
Hall of Fame rider Mike Miranda, Mr. Miranda, or it should be Mr. Hollywood.
Hey, call me anything you want. It's good. All good. All good. You can call me the dirty knob.
The Dirty Knob. Took the time to come on here and talk to me a little bit about what he's got going with the Dirty Fest and about his podcast, which I'm a huge fan of, by the way, Mike. You're doing stuff that I wanted to do 2 years ago, except I don't have Hall of Famers to talk to.
Hey, listen, you could lock me in the closet by myself. I'd still have a great conversation.
So I lived in Temecula for a long time, and I used to be a coach for one of the high school mountain bike teams, and we were constantly at Vail. So I hate that place.
Well,
I was trying to keep up with high school kids on a mountain bike at 52 years old is kind of rough.
Well, you know what? We built a track special for Dirty Fest, and it's perfect. It's perfect for our demographic in that you can just push off the gate and you can coast all the way down to the finish line. And there's jumps all the way along the way, but you can also roll all the jumps. The course was made for us to have fun, but still go to work on Monday morning.
Nice, nice. So I did a little bit of research on actually. You remember Billy Weeks from?
Of course.
Yeah. So I'm Facebook friends with him, and he did like a anonymous post with your with the Dirty Fest on it. And he tagged all of his BMX buddies, and he tagged me. And I go, what the hell is this? So I looked it up. I'm like, oh hell yeah! And I showed it to my wife. She's like, oh, that's just down your alley, man. So I was like,
Yeah.
I was so stoked about it, right? And I was doing a little bit of research, but I didn't go to the podcast at all for like a month and a half or something. Like I didn't put two and two together until a couple of weeks ago, and the podcast is even better than I could ever imagine.
Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. We are having a blast doing it. We are really, really enjoying it. It's we like I said, or like I want to tell people is that we only do 26 in a year, and we do 6 by ourselves, and those are some of our favorites because it's just us clowning around. And the parts of the podcast that people don't hear, the 30 minutes or so before and afterwards, they're some of our favorite parts because we're just laughing the whole time.
I can imagine, man. Because I just with my buddies, we don't have Hall of Fame stories. We got regular stories. So I can imagine what it's like to be factory on the road with these different companies.
Oh, brother, it's the same stories you're telling. It's the same stories you're telling. Just change the names. It's the same kind of crazy stuff we did.
Just bigger odds or bigger consequences.
Just a different town. Yeah, it's the exact same thing. Throwing oranges at cars or kicking water onto people walking by the sidewalk. It's all the same stuff.
Cool. So I was looking at the classes and the racing and that type of thing. So there's no real age classes, right? It's just for age of the bike.
That's right. So for the Dirty Fest, for our vintage series of racing, there is going to be only classes that are by the age of the bike and whether it's got suspension or not. And we don't have ages involved until we get to the open classes. So there are open classes if you want to race your friends and they're riding different size bikes. We made it so they can race too by having an open class.
Okay. So I guess we should say where the Dirty Fest is actually occurring, right?
Well, hey, April 28th through the 30th in Temecula, California is the Dirty Fest, Southern California's premier vintage BMX extravaganza.
I can tell you've done that a couple times.
Yeah, man, we're having, it was a dream of mine about a year and a half, it'd be almost 3 years ago now, was to host an event where everyone would have a blast. That was the dream. Then I thought, well, how do I advertise to get people to come to it? So I said, well, I'll do a podcast. That'll be the advertising part of it. And then at the final part of it, of the 3-part deal was that we would have hopefully this would grow into some way we could give back to a charity and or start our own foundation. So right now we're plugged in with the Davis Finney Foundation, and we do everything we do is on behalf of John Cruz for the benefit of the Davis Finney Foundation, which is for Parkinson's disease.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, and so I planned this all out 3 years ago. I wrote it all down one night after a conversation with Eddie King and Eric Carter, and then a little bit later I talked to my buddy James Vicente JV, and we just said you got to make it happen. So I did, made it all happen. Bought all the domain names, got all the equipment, got just started doing what we're doing, and here we are about to head into the Dirty Fest. It's a little 5 weeks away, and we're already excited, man. We're stoked. All of our friends are signing up and telling their friends, and it's going to be a blast. It's going to be a blast.
I gotta get on my. I gotta get my power light. That's the one. If I race Dirty Fest, I think that's a 95. I'm good with the 95, right?
Sure. To us, vintage is anything that starts with 19. If it's a 1999 or earlier, that's a vintage bike.
Okay, so that's probably what I'm going to be racing if I get on the track. But I gotta get my butt down to Temecula pump track and get in shape again.
Oh, brother, let me tell you about like I said, we've designed this track so you don't have to be in shape. It's for you to have fun. I'll tell you, whatever gear you got, it's probably too easy because it's a coasting kind of track. There's not a lot of pedaling, and you pedal a little bit out of the corners, but then you're going to roll downhill and hit some very mellow jumps that are all rollable, or you can sky it out if you want to. And it's just about having fun the whole weekend. If you're coming to race seriously, you're coming to the wrong place. This is going to be a blast.
I was looking for an Evil Knievel costume, but it looks like you already beat me to the punch.
Oh, right there, baby, right there. Well, Saturday night is the 80s. So let me give you the rundown. On Friday is registration, practice, and then Friday night we have the foot down championships. Now, for those guys that have not played foot down before, it's where you make a circle or a square, and then you put a bunch of people in it, and you start riding around, and you kind of cut each other off, brake check, kind of bump each other. And the idea is to either push them out of the circle or put your foot down. Mm-hmm. Once you touch your foot on the ground, you're out. And we just eliminate till there's only one person left. And that's the foot down championships. That's Friday night. Saturday morning, there'll be the swap meet. There'll be the bike show, day one of the bike show, and first two motos. In between the first two motos, there's an hour break. And in the hour break between the motos, we're asking everyone else to go over to the bike show and place your vote for the people's choice for the vintage bike show. During that hour break and you're placing your votes, we're going to have 4 guests. We're going to have David Clinton, the first #1 rider. He's going to be there with the Kawasaki bike, and they're going to talk about the Epic bike and the Epic rider. Then we have Stu Thompson on Stu Thompson's Red Line, and he's going to do the same thing. And then we're going to have Greg Hill on either GHP or GT. I'm not sure which one. And then, of course, you can't do this without having Perry Kramer and the PK Ripper. So everyone you'll have the iconic rider and the iconic bike, and talking about how those came together and how it all happened. And that's Saturday afternoon. Then Saturday night is the key. Saturday night is the 80s costume party. And in the middle of the costume party, that's DJ'd by Johnny Johnson, in the middle of that costume party, we're going to have a 16-inch pit bike derby. So a little race on 16-inch pit bikes that were all donated by Haro Bikes. It's going to be, oh my God, it's going to be hilarious.
I had a geekable Haro moment a couple of years ago at Interbike, and so I don't know anybody really. I mean, I've been in BMX my whole life, but I really don't know anybody of any note. And I was at Interbike a couple of years ago, and I was talking to my brother Brian, and he's like, "Dude, you still want to meet Bob Haro?" I go, "Yeah, I'd definitely like to meet Bob Haro." He goes, "Well, turn around, he's right behind you." I turn around, I'm like, "Oh God, dude, introduce me, man." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And they took a picture with me, and that's the picture right there behind me. That was me and Bob Haro.
I see it. I see it. Yeah, he is a cool cat. He is a cool cat. He designed our logo for and did a custom logo for the Dirty Fest.
Yeah.
He'll be out there. He's gonna have a booth there in Vendor Village with his artwork and stuff for sale, and you can get his autograph. It's gonna be great. Hey, what about your BMX trophies?
Those are my kids' BMX trophies, not mine. But yeah, I think about it. That's another funny story. I bought my brother used to work. Still works for Felt.
Yeah, and, so he and I work together.
Yeah. Did you ever turn golf pro?
I did.
Okay, so I think we met one time in passing years ago, and I think that you had mentioned that you're going to quit GT and become a golf pro. I'm all, really? You're going to quit
That,
GT and golf?
I remember now. We were in the bathroom. And we both had our pants down, and we had a sword fight. I remember it. Yeah, it was like yesterday.
You had me for a minute, man. I'm all, really? It could have been in the warehouse at Right Way or something like that. I don't know, but I think I met you years ago. But yeah, I have a problem with getting geeked out with like BMX guys. I had an uncomfortable situation with Todd Lyons at Interbike many years ago, where I get starstruck real easy, so I'm trying not to geek out right now. But we were at Interbike, and Alan Foster introduced me to Todd Lyons. And he's like, hey, Todd, this is Kevin Wilson, he's Brian's brother. And I kind of was too enamored with Todd at the time. And Todd looks at Alan and goes, the hell are you introducing me to this guy? Who the hell is this guy? And this might have been before he was with SC. I don't know, but it was just crazy. So I have a bad habit of getting.
Will you introduce me to BMX Hunters?
Pardon me?
Will you introduce me to BMX Hunters?
Yeah, I wasn't BMX Hunters back then. I had my bike shop. I used to have a bike shop in Temecula.
Oh, that's cool. That's great.
Yeah, it was called Friction Ride Shop, but it was funny when you open up a bike shop with a ball peen hammer, Phillips screwdriver, and 3 bikes.
What? No crescent wrench and vice grips? Come on, you can't be pro.
You think I'm joking? I'm dead serious. Dude. I used to call my brother on the phone and say, "Man, dude, how do I adjust a derailleur? Man, I have no idea what I'm doing."
Oh my! And you started a bike shop.
And I started a bike shop. Yeah, and it lasted 4 years. I had my own bike team, my own race team. It was cool. It was cool.
Hey, but your hat says BMX Hunters. What is that?
That's what I had. That's right now. That's the page I run now in my YouTube channel. Yeah, so that's what the YouTube channel I tell stories on my YouTube channel.
So, yeah, and it's called BMX Hunters.
Yeah.
Is it because you're hunting BMX bikes?
Yeah.
I'm the
guy. I'm the one that everybody hates. That they find a survivor in a barn, and I take it apart.
What is that bad?
Well, I've caused many arguments on BMX on the museum about that. One time I drive a truck for a living, and I drove out to Pennsylvania to get I picked those Daryl Young at a truck stop, and I brought it back, and I took it apart, and I pieced out, I separated the forks, the bars, and the frame, and people wanted to string me up on the museum. It was crazy. They got mad.
Why? Why do they get mad? Help me understand.
Because they said that if it came from the factory, from the bike shop together as a set, bars, frame, and forks, it should stay that way.
Huh.
And I was like, okay, well, it's my stuff. I should be able to sell it. And I don't know, the guy that bought it from me, he said he was Jim Melton's grandson. So I was like, okay, well, I'll sell it to you then. He could have been lying to me, but I don't know. Crazy stuff.
I don't think I agree with those other people. I think like I said, it's yours to sell any way you want to.
Right.
No, I think selling it all together probably would have gotten more money, maybe.
No, it didn't.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny. Like people, it's always the people that didn't have any money that weren't intending to buy it anyways that were complaining.
Oh.
But anyways, there's a big stigma on the museum that's about taking bikes apart or flipping them or that type of thing, where it's frowned upon. But I'm the guy that takes it apart, sells piece by piece, and so forth. So,
well, now I know who to come to for my Moto Mag sprockets and what have you.
Well, I was going to ask you, like, when you're in the Hall of Fame, what did you give the Hall of Fame? Did you donate anything of yours to the Hall of Fame when you went in?
Kevin, I'll tell you, when I retired from BMX, I gave everything away, and I mean everything. First of all, I never saved anything to start with. And so what I had at the end of my career, I gave to all the kids in my neighborhood. And I had left bikes and jerseys and helmets around the world. I was pretty famous for not famous. I was well known to my sponsors for leaving my stuff behind.
Yeah.
I just, I thought it was a good idea. I thought it was promoting BMX to when I would leave a different country, I would leave my bike behind. I'd come back with a very small amount of luggage. I would just leave it all behind. I thought it was my way of thanking the people that brought me over, and made my trip a little easier on the way home. So I kept nothing. So when I got inducted into the Hall of Fame and they asked me to put something in there, literally I had nothing to give. The only thing I kept was my Nora Cup, which was on display at a bike shop. That's the only reason I had it. And I did keep my very first trophy ever. That's all I kept. So, but here, not long ago, someone gave me back something, and I gave me back a jersey, one of my jerseys, and I sent it to Gork at the Hall of Fame. Everything you see behind me, all of this is stuff that's been given back to me.
Nice.
People from around the world had sent me stuff back that I'd given away.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty
Nice.
cool.
You grew up in Riverside, right?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm on the Menifee side of Elsinore right now.
Yeah.
I make sure people know that I'm on the Menifee side of Elsinore.
So do you live in Menifee or Elsinore?
I live in Elsinore, but I live off of Hawley. No, what is it? Holland. Down here by Menifee. But I grew up in South Pasadena, and I rode for Maine Bikes out of Alhambra. Do you remember Maine Bikes by any chance?
Sure, of course. Of
I have a
course.
picture with you racing one of our Maine Bikes guys.
Yeah. I used to I grew up in Riverside and Corona, and I would ride a road bike out and around Elsinore and back. That was my train. I did it once a week. That was my training. That was good. I love it out there.
Did you hit a lot of weights and stuff like that when you were training, or
not a lot. I spent more time on my bike doing sprints, doing starts, and then once a week riding a big long ride like that. I tried to do 100 miles. And
wow.
that was basically it. And then the weekends was racing.
Since you said about the road bike, I did a story about my brother had this great idea when we were, I don't know, I think it was like 91 or 92, where he wanted to fly our bikes to fly us up to San Francisco and ride back down from Frisco to LA. And with no training, he was on a $200 Diamondback road bike. And we did 5 centuries in 4 days. It was crazy.
Did you make it? Did you?
Yeah, I made it.
Well,
we hitchhiked through Big Sur. Well, my brother would have rode through Big Sur, but I was so tired. I go, I'm hitchhiking. I don't care.
Yeah.
Did you? So I don't remember ever seeing you. Were you ever in like the Azusa area, Pipeline? Did you ever do that when you were racing?
Oh yeah, I rode. Yeah, we would ride. If you're asking me if I rode in bowls,
did you race?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, in the Azusa area, I raced Azusa, Monrovia. I raced both Azusa tracks, Monrovia, Little Lake in Norwalk, La Mirada. What else is up there? Montclair.
It was it Montclair or Claremont or something like that too?
Yeah. I raced everywhere up there. I raced all the local races, but my home track was Corona Downhill, and then Corona Norco Y and Norco Snipes Park.
See,
those were my local tracks.
Yeah, all them closed before I even started racing. So as soon as I'm a baby.
When did you start and where?
I started racing. There's a funny story about my first time I ever went racing. I finally convinced my dad to take me and my brother racing, and we showed up at Monrovia. And Monrovia, the races had just ended, and everybody was leaving. The trucks were leaving, and the gate was down. And I went up. I go, oh my gosh, what happened to the racing? I thought we were racing today. And he goes, oh, you just missed the races. Come back next week. 2 hours earlier, and you could race. I'm like, okay, cool. Can I ride around the track or whatever? He's like, sure. So I got on the starting hill, went down, we rode around a little bit, went home, came back the next weekend, and the track was closed for good.
Oh.
So I was on a Sunday morning, I believe, and the track operator says, don't worry, Azusa is racing later on this afternoon.
That's correct.
He told us how to get there, and we went up, and I had to race. Dave Wilson, Mike Guitardi, Brant Clark, the Clark brothers, and I got smoked the first time I ever got. Can you imagine the first time you raced? You got to race Mike Guitardi.
And Azusa was a tough track to race on because it was so localized. The local guys had that track down. It was great.
So
Yep.
the funny part, the funny part about it is a couple months ago, Daryl Foster's dad ran Monrovia, right?
Monrovia, he was the starter. He was the announcer, and he ran Monrovia.
So Daryl Foster texted me and said, "Dude, I just watched your video about your first race, and the guy, the track operator that told you to go to Azusa was my dad." I'm like, "Oh man, dude, that's so cool."
Dude, I always say he was my favorite announcer of all time. Was Mr. Foster. It was great.
Yeah, I'm talking to Brandon.
He sounded just like Wolfman Jack on the radio. He was great.
Dude, I talked to Brant Clark. I don't know if you remember who Brant Clark was. He worked at GT too. And Brent, he said the same thing. He's like, dude, he was the best announcer. The way that he talked was really cool.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, nice.
The track was, I remember Monrovia being a super flat gate and a flat. Once you went down the starting hill, then it was flat. All the turns were flat. It was, but I did well there. I liked it, and I remember I would always in practice would jump with Daryl. He was for a little kid. He was a little kid then, but man, he was a rad jumper.
Yeah. That was before my time, but yeah, I know who he is, but crazy stuff.
Hey, so tell me about the helmet behind you. What is that?
That's it's a dyno helmet that I got off of eBay for $10.
Turn it to the side. Can I see it?
Yeah.
Yep, that's what I thought it was.
So yeah, I picked it up for $10 off of eBay.
So my last job at GT, when I worked at GT in Huntington Beach, Santa Ana, I was a soft goods product manager. So my job was to design and have those made.
So that's legit?
That's legit. Yeah. I designed it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cool. That's what I thought it was from the back, from what I could see. I go, I swear that's a dyno helmet. That is pretty cool, man.
You designed my helmet. My brother designed my bike.
Yep. Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
That is very cool, man.
So I want to wrap this up. I know you're a busy man, but I just want to say, so but like I want to make sure I got all the information right. It's www.dirtyfest.com.
That's right, www.dirtyfest.com. You'll get all the event information for the swap meet, the bike show, the racing, and the shenanigans. All of it. Come on out.
The shenanigans are extra.
Oh no, shenanigans, they're free, baby. Love to have you. And a lot of other stuff that's going to happen that I didn't talk about that's going to be fun. The who's who of BMX are all going to be there.
Nice, dude. And I want to tell everybody that takes time to watch this video that your podcast that's the shit right there, man. That's
man, thank you so much. We're really enjoying it. The Dirty Knobs podcast. It's every other Sunday at 9 a.m. And the guests that we have they're all friends. And we've got, like I said, with only 20 guests a year, we've got them lined up for a couple of years. So yeah, tune in and have a blast, and make sure you stick around after the commercials. After the commercials, the stuff we tack on at the end is the best.
I still got to watch today's episode, because when you wrote, I hate Eddie King, that's hilarious, man. I got to watch that. I assume he doesn't hate Eddie King. You're just a little teaser to get someone in the video, right?
Oh no, man! Listen, both Lee Medlin and I said the same thing during the video. No, I hated Eddie King. Hated Eddie King. I didn't know him, never spoke to him, hated him.
Dude,
but you have to listen, and Lee Medlin says the same thing. You'll have to listen to why and how it turns out.
The funny thing about it, dude, my wife works for escrow company that was at the same real estate company as Lee Medlin, right?
Yeah.
So he would send her emails or whatever, and I go, "Hey, that's Pedlin Lee Medlin, man."
Isn't that one of the best nicknames in BMX?
Exactly.
Lee Medlin. Oh, I love it.
Well, second to Hollywood, right?
Well, I didn't say it, but I'm glad you did.
All right, man. Hey, I appreciate it, Mike. I really do. I really appreciate it, and I wish you all the best on Dirty Fest and your podcast. And I can't wait to be there and check it out.
Brother, I can't wait. Make sure you dust off that power light, put some air in the tires, and come on out, baby. But
I
don't
get
you
some
fall and
20 by
scratch that dyno helmet.
2.125s on there. All right, Mike.
Hey, brother, anytime, all the time. All right.
All right, man. Peace out, dude. Thank you.
Thanks, brother.
Peace out.